Hey everyone, it is late at night and I am Norman. I had no idea that Armida makes a 35mm dive watch. That is crazy. And because I'm strange and weird and like small vintage sized watches, I've actually been looking for a vintage dive watch in these proportions. So when I saw that there's a contemporary one with 300 meters of water resistance, in a mil-sub style with no date, I had to get one. I've done a first impressions video, but now that I've spent some time with this watch and put it on the bracelet that it shipped on, let's review it. And here is the Armida A11. I used to own an Armida A1 and absolutely loved it, so I was pretty stoked to get another one in the collection, and it's been a long time since I've owned a mil-sub style watch. So I've been wearing this pretty much non-stop since it arrived, for the most part. I've been wearing it on a Nato strap, but I put the bracelet back on it for this review and was shocked. It actually looks really good on this bracelet, and I'm not much of a bracelet person. However, I feel like with the thickness of this watch, it kind of looks weird on Nato straps. I bought this one to wear with it because I love the offset pinstriping on it. This is the second one I own like this. This is an 18mm and I own a 20mm one as well. So be sure to stick around to the end of this video. I'll put it on that Nato and let you see what it looks like on that. But I think I'll wear it on this bracelet until the rubber strap that I bought arrives. We'll see. Alright, so beginning with the bracelet, we have the clasp here. And it has a fold over. And it all feels really solid. There's 4 micro adjustments there. It's brushed on top here, polished on the sides. Same with the bracelet, and its center links are also polished. And this clasp is really secure. Even the fold over is. It really secures shut. And this one here. Yeah, you really have to get in there. We see that it's milled and just really nice. This watch retails for $399, so not super expensive, especially for what you get. This bracelet was really long. I had to take a ton of links out. These screws are really nice. They came out easily. One of them had a bit too much Loctite on it or something and wouldn't budge, but definitely night and day from the San Martin that I have. Those screws were kind of a nightmare. These, not so bad. And where it meets up with the case, the brushing doesn't really match, but I don't think it looks jarring at all. I feel like it suits this watch pretty well, even though it doesn't exactly match up there. It is nice and flush with the case at the top though. This watch has drilled lugs, and you can see that it's polished on the sides, but brushed on top, which is great. It is kind of thick. It's 12mm, which wouldn't be bad if the case was 40mm, you know, a normal dive watch size. But being smaller kind of makes it look a bit chunky. However, on this bracelet, I feel like that kind of negates that, and it looks more proportional. Looking at the case back, there's a bit of sticker residue on there, right up there. But it is polished and has that great design etched into it, and some information around that. And by the way, this bracelet is really easy to put back on, which is amazing because I am terrible at that. But this was barely any different than putting on a strap. It was really nice. It has small crown guards and a screwed down crown. So let's see what that's like to operate. We'll unscrew it. It's fairly smooth. We have that same pattern that's on the back etched into the crown. Let's pop this out. And it seems that there's a ghost date in this. There. So that could be a huge negative for some people. I personally don't mind it. If this watch was more expensive, yeah, that would be a problem. And an indicator of laziness on the part of the manufacturer at higher price points, but at $400 I personally don't care. It's nice and smooth. The resistance is great. It feels really solid. We'll get this around to 10 and 2. And you see the movement hacks. Pop this back in. And we'll see how the threading is on this. So we'll push it in. Screw it in. Yeah, not bad at all. It catches easily. Yeah, that feels great. And looking at this bezel, it has an aluminum insert on it. And the bezel movement is great. These clicks are really tight. There's zero backplay whatsoever. It's not super easy to rotate, but it's not impossible either. It feels really solid. And we'll get this back around to the top so we don't lose our minds. And there. And this has the minutes called out all the way around. So it's a little bit busier than bezels that just have the details for like a quarter of it and then minimal markers for the rest of it. But the symmetry is nice. Looking at the dial, this thing is pitch black. Being smaller, the indices are a bit crowded, but I think it looks fine to me. I don't mind it at all. Look at all the loom in those hands. That is crazy. And this is not patinaed loom, it's nice and bright white. And this loom is pretty impressive. So let's fire it up and take a look at that. Yeah, look at that. This is one of those watches where the loom is strong enough to where you notice it during the day just by being indoors or going into the shade. And if you're driving at night, you'll notice that it lasts pretty long too. That's kind of my personal loom test. If I'm driving and in no time the watch is pitch black, well, it's not really lasting terribly long. Yeah, that looks great. And the seconds hand is loomed. I mean, this is a proper dive watch. That's cool. As for the specifications on this watch, the case size is 35 millimeters. However, the bezel overhangs a bit, so you could almost call it a 36 millimeter watch. The height is 12 millimeters. The lug to lug is 44 millimeters. The lug width is 18 millimeters. The crystal is sapphire. And amazingly, this watch has an ETA movement in it. The movement inside this watch is an ETA 2836-2. And it has 300 meters of water resistance. Alright, so let me take off my space view and you'll get to see something truly rare, a 35 millimeter dive watch. Alright, so here is the Armida A11 on my 7-inch wrist. And just look at it on that bracelet. That looks so cool. And I normally don't even like bracelets, but it looks really good on this watch. I'm also not a huge Jubilee style bracelet fan. I prefer more of the oyster style, but again, this one seems to suit the watch really well. I feel like this size watch is perfect on my wrist, so if you have smaller wrists, this might be a good option for you. I do agree that dive watches and tool watches in general should be larger, but for me personally, I like the smaller watches. So this is the perfect size for me. Alright, let's see what it looks like on the Nato strap. And here is the A11 on my Nato strap here. If you're enjoying this video and want to see more of my content, be sure to hit subscribe, and you'll notice that I've converted this to a single pass NATO, and I didn't alter it at all. If you want to see a video of how I did that, be sure to hit the notifications icon also. I'll be doing a video giving instructions on how to do that. It's nice because you don't have to ruin your NATO straps, but you can still have the watches sitting nice and close to your wrist because they are single pass. I love those offset pinstripes, so cool. I'll definitely be getting a Bond NATO, probably in the old school colors too, but I'm anxious to see what the rubber strap I ordered is going to look like on this. It is so cool having a mil sub watch in the collection again. Awesome. So there you have it, my amazing new Armida A11 watch, and I bought it just in time. Apparently this particular model is all sold out. The one that has a date isn't though, and there are other colorways that you could get these in, different dial colors and whatnot. So if you have small wrists, or you like vintage size watches, even in dive watches, these might be for you. Thanks for watching.